Krefeld, Germany.
Let's jump onto Night Market though, as we see British Hurricane over in the green, AT over in the white. So they do roll out the gate. No too much of a surprise to start us off with, especially on Night Market. Just standard 3-3 for both teams.
I thought maybe Havoc would bring up the Wrecking Ball here on Night Market, but like you said, standard 3-3 straight away. We can see Numlock going deep into the back there. We'll get the shield, we'll get rid of the Discord Orb.
Yeah, Angry Titans are going to move onto the point, or at least try to. Lox is permanently holding shield. Barry gets destroyed through all the pressure.
There's a shadow!
Ready for Numlocked. That's going to win the fight, mate. It's already done.
Barton's Brains, they're two damn big jaws, already getting the shadow. Lowstish is 33%. Who's the closest to an ultimate? Maybe Daned with 72. That was the closest we got to Numlock with a shadow. No one expected that. They also engaged into Angry Titans while they were in that courtyard. There was no physical cover available. Whereas British Hurricane, when they peeked in through those gates, they had that physical cover, so that was hugely in their advantage. Numlock's already equal with Lowstish again, Thrall Charge.
Want to get in their heads, they're going to bump Lowstish in, he gets stunned. He's going to be okay for the time being. He's going to end up going down though, he's on the wrong side of the map. Yofi just takes a punch to the back of his head and he ends up falling. Hurricane popping the rally fairly early as well, but Numlock's still going to go down. They're going to sit on a Transcendence for now, but both main tanks falling doesn't mean Angry Titans can push just yet.
The rallies have been used. Looks like they're going to wait for Lowstish to respawn. British Hurricane also kind of tepid about making the engagement. Are going to have that defensive position on the point here, Angry Titans, as they start accruing that capture percentage.
Beautiful little stall there coming out from Happy Cool. It's going to send the bomb in as well, but Danet's already got two. They might not even need anything more. Fat ends up falling. The Beat and Transcendence layered on top of each other for AT. It's a disaster as British Hurricane continue to hold. Didn't even give up the point.
Oh, he tried to layer Jaws, but Beat never hit the ground. Fat was taken out midway through the cast. He wanted to break it down, but he got blown away by a smart bomb from Happy Cool himself. British Hurricane now have 3 ultimates, including both of those supports, ready to try and steal themselves against Angry Titans' next attack. They're going to be going up against the Graviton Surge from Spectral. He's been a standout Zarya throughout the season. He's going to have to be incredibly clutch here.
Grab's coming in. Transcendence is going to match, but the bomb's up in the air. The Beat's going to come out as well and help British Hurricane survive. Sooner wasn't quite so lucky as the Shadow does land on the floor as well. This time, Angry Titans are able to kill off Numlocked before he gets his hanger swinging again. AT are going to move towards the point, but British Hurricane, they're in a good spot, Harry. 85%, building up to a little bit more there. It's only one fight territory now for them.
Not exactly sure, but I think Lowstish there also interrupted Yofi's own sound barrier using the Earth Shadow to stun him during that animation. So great play there. Numlocked has the advantage on the Earth Shadow now, can use that to knock down many members of Angry Titans if they're a little bit strange with their positioning around Lowstish's shield. Urki has the aggressive use of a rally potentially to try and meet British Hurricane in the field. But British Hurricane, they maybe only need to win one fight to win out Night Market.
Soon as 60% towards his grab. Numlock's, like you said, already got his Shadow online. Throwing a Flame Strike in to try and get a bit of extra poke damage before they go in. Lowstish's shield's pretty worse for wear at this point as well. Numlock gets stunned in the corner, but Urki's going to get sent rather low and reeling as he does end up retreating to the rest of his team. A Transcendence coming out fairly early for AT as well. Urki is still playing up at the front line as Numlocked ends up going down. They're going to send the Self-Destruct in anyway, and Sooner actually threw in a Graviton Surge as well, but got eaten all up. They aren't done just yet, as Urki and Spectral end up going down anyway. British Hurricane still want to fight this.
They want to take the Brawl Jaw. Sooner's got the energy to make it work. He's trying to beam down Lowstish's shield.
AT is still gaining time though, but Lowstish is going to go down. Shield destroyed as the beam just penetrated it and ended up killing him off. Happy Cool goes down as well as the Self-Destruct got thrown in from Emil, but they're still willing to fight. AT throw out a sound barrier as they continue on marching forward.
Now they will. Yofi trying to get the boops here, trying to protect people off the map maybe. He got Emil right there. Looks like he's going to have survived.
10% away from a sound barrier as well, but he ends up getting taken out by A-Fox. British Hurricane need to make a decision. Are they going to actually stick onto this fight? Because we are approaching 80%
a second Transcendence.
Another Transcendence is going to come through, and Numlocked ends up going down. And now it's only one fight for AT to win. British Hurricane sat themselves on the point for so long that they rolled up to build up to 90% now on the board.
So brawly here for Angry Titans, but it worked out in their favor eventually. Lowstish and Spectral actually diverged when Happy Cool bombed, at which meant that Spectral died, and that could have sealed the fate of Angry Titans. Daned already popping the rally. British Hurricane, no breaks.
OT's going to come in session. However, Graviton Surge is going to come out. Lowstish is going to get stunned as he gets pinned against the wall. That's the first Shadow's wall as the Shadow comes through, but it gets blocked completely up. A Graviton Surge gets launched in on top of Hurricane, but there's no extra follow-up to be had. OT is ticking through as AT get wiped off the point. Hurricane now secure.
And now they need to scramble Jaws. Fat's already been respawned, so the speed boost is going to be available. You can see him waiting there and spawn. A couple of trades will happen. Spectral no longer wants to play on Vazaya. Going to move over to the Tracer. Maybe a backline assassination onto Bucket or Yofi could be just the clutch that the Doctor ordered. Docbox going to be ready for him, though.
OT's going to get triggered as Numlock's just battling Losish in the front line. Urki's going to go down already. Spectral's on the Tracer trying to find a pick, but Losish and Fat are already dead. Half of AT are going to get sent to the grave as British Hurricane don't lose the just remember just yet. Emil ends up going down as well. AT now surely just pushed off the point. Spectral ends up falling as British Hurricane secure Night Market.
Beautiful marking there by Daned. He knew that Spectral wants to come in from a different angle, get that flank onto Bucket or maybe onto Yofi, remove one of those supports and make it so that British Hurricane had a lot of trouble trying to sustain themselves in that fight. But Daned was there. He was blocking out all these entrances, making sure the shield bash and the whip shot were always going to be major factors that Spectral would have to try and bring into his own sort of like consideration. And now Spectral will have to go back over onto the Zarya. And with that Zarya, he will once again have the protection that Losish needs. In that last fight, Losish definitely didn't have that. He was missing those Zarya bubbles, and that can mean that Numlocked in that defensive position with Sooner at his back's in such a great place to try and just bully out the enemy Reinhardt.
Now we jump over to Control Center. A little bit different coming out from British Hurricane. They're actually running Danad out on his Doomfist. It was rather famed, of course, last year. Danad's Doomfist rather scary. However, in this composition,
Bucket's been assassinated.
Well. Emil in the back line's going to be able to find one kill, but AFOX is going to fall as well. Danit trying to take over the game now as Losish, again, finds himself in the back line. How does he find himself in these situations? Danit's going to find the kill on him as well. British Hurricane now up a man.
Some great boops there to try and control Losish. AFOX swapping over now, wants to play on the Ana. Looks like British Hurricane are going to get first control, and Emil there tried to be the playmaker, actually just ran forward into the back lines, knowing that he didn't have too much to do with the defense matrix in order to try and save any members of Angry Titans. Instead, he tried to get the assassination on Buck, and it did work out because British Hurricane, they positioned so aggressively, trying to support Daned as he goes in for these deep dives with the Doomfist. Once again, Emil's going to try and find Daned, but a lot of support for the Doomfist.
Daned's going in. That's a big nade, just keeping the Ana alive for the time being. Meteor Strike's going to get used straight on top of the Ana's head, but can't quite find the kill just yet. A Sleep Dart goes a little bit wide, as Emil does end up getting traded for Numlocked as he ends up falling down, but Sooner still willing to fight this. You are British Hurricane at this point with control. Does mean if you die on the point, of course, it's going to buy even more time for the rest of your team.
Lost his shield, it's almost down. Numlocked ready to drop the hammer at a moment's notice.
Jones has got his own shatter, but it's going to hit the ground. Two beats are going to come through as well as two Graviton Surges. Who can follow up on it quicker? Danad ends up going down to AFOX. Those Bio Grenades do so much work on top of Grabs, Harry. And now AFOX with a Nano Boost can unleash it on Losish to build another shatter oh so quickly. They're going to find Bok, and Numlocked ends up going down as well. A beautiful sleep dart to stop the Lucio in his tracks. And finally, AT scurrying British Hurricane off point.
And great reservation there from AFOX to not use the Nano Boost Jaws. He knows that Losish had what he needed to make the counter-attack happen after British Hurricane invested so much. But Daned, he's still in the back line. Secret Agent Daned, 007 here. Going to be sneaking around, trying to get an assassination maybe on to Fat potentially. AFOX could also be quite vulnerable, especially if they can divert attention during an attack. Oh, there it is.
He managed to connect Fat with the wall as well. Insta-kill. Self-destruct gets launched into the air. Numlocked again ends up going down. Losish with the Nano Boost is going to be able to swing on in. You can see he's only 10% away now from another shatter. Meteor Strike on top of the team, although it's not going to really connect with anybody. He's going to be rather hardy now as the Graviton Surge gets launched in, and Danny just avoids it with an uppercut.
Beautiful evasion from him. AFOX doesn't quite die here, and Dan needs to make a re-engagement with maximum health.
He's still okay. AT still control the point though, but Numlock's got a shatter in a couple of seconds. Happy Call ends up going down. Losish slays a shatter down of his own. Doesn't quite catch anybody, but it doesn't matter. Numlocked was just caught out again in the front line, tried to go for a risky charge, ends up paying the price for it. And now AT, you're going to push Hurricane all the way back to spawn.
Spectral there channeling his in and NA. We all remember how he tried to solo grab a Sombra towards the end of Rialto in those quarter-final stage 1 matchups. That's the same thing there. Want to solo grab the Doomfist, make sure he's not going to be a factor in the fight. But when we talk about Graviton Surges, Sooner also has one available. Angry Titans, they remain in control. 2 fights will secure this sort of and keep them in contention for winning Lijiang Tower.
Graviton Surge is going to come out. Numlock has got the shatter as well, and Nade's going to come through. That's 3 people going to get caught up, but a beat's going to come through just in time. Urki's got the Nano Boost, could just swing to the high heavens, but they've already isolated Emil, and he ends up going down, or at least his mech ends up falling. Angry Titans still wanting to fight this, 10% away from them securing the map. And they got ults online now. Lotus laying down the shadow, targeting out Bok in the back
Transcendence is
line.
gone.
But a Transcendence now disappearing from the old bank of British Hurricane. Numlock's going to go down as well. AT coming back with a vengeance. The bomb comes through, doesn't find anybody. And now it's just picking each individual member of Hurricane off one by one. Lotus gets jumped on, a Graviton Surge. That time around, just zoning everybody away. Overtime's going to tick through, and AT will eventually end up securing control center.
Beautiful whip shot boot there as well to make sure Bucket couldn't get back with that Transcendence. And twice there, Losses actually went for a shadow that only caught Bucket. He wants to make sure that Transcendence was not going to be a factor in either fight. He was about 7% shy of it last time when he got caught, so it would have stopped him from hitting those orbs to get that ultimate ready for the previous fight. And this time he had it ready to go, but couldn't pop it in time to make him immune to that CC. And also, it would have meant that there could have been greater follow-up for Angry Titans after that was no longer available. So Lolsish there really clutching out, making sure Bucket was not a factor in those particular battles. And that's going to mean we're going to go forward onto our third and final stage of Lijiang Tower Jaws. It's the Gardens. We see DPS here occasionally, but for now it looks like everyone's sticking to their guns.
I think British Hurricane have learned their lesson last time they tried to run DPS. It was a solo tank ball brought onto the field by Numlocked. And the team just kind of lost control of the point, and then if you don't have the old bank to follow up with the next couple of fights, the 3-3 will just overrun you at the end of the day.
Speaking of losing control, Lolsish needs to take some of that back. Numlock going to be
He's dead already.
out.
I think we was just going to kill him off. It's just a bash. Micro missiles, just everything thrown at the main tank of AT. Uki is going to fall as well. And that's Hurricane just trying to push everybody off. Charge as much ult as they possibly can. That'll be a nice bit of ult charge for Yofi. Same for Fat, though, who ends up finding a revenge boop on Yofi. But it doesn't matter, because British Hurricane have secured the point. Yofi's going to be back momentarily, of course. He is on the loose show, so he's rather quick.
And when it comes to those late games trade, it's so valuable to kill Vizaya as well, because it means they're going to respawn with zero energy. Whereas sooner, he's been able to throw out these mortars with a significant amount of energy to his name, gaining some more there from the returned mortars of Spectral. And now they're going to try and meet them in this small corridor. You can see Numlocked ready to try and hit a lot of people with that Fire Strike and get himself an Earth Shatter.
Nice bit of evasion there from the rest of AT, making sure the Fire Strike didn't hit anybody. Of course, you can eat them as well with the defense matrix. Now Hurricane are moving into this small room, exactly where they want him to be. Lolsish ends up going down. That's going to be a big boot from Yofi as well, finding a meal. Perfect fight from British Hurricane, didn't lose anybody. Forcing AT to reset themselves, almost just running head on first into Hurricane, charging their ult banks pretty well. One ult was expended in that fight too, and it was only the Shatter.
Felucio's doing a lot of work as well. Both of them have the sound barrier ready to go, but it seems like British Hurricane, their rotations, they're so crisp and they're so well called by Yofi and Numlocked. They call him Big Brain Barden for a reason. He definitely knows the best way to try and mitigate any potential entrance from Angry Titans. You can see everyone is far too well positioned to get knocked off here on the side of British Hurricane.
Grab's going to pin everybody to the wall. Emil already ends up going down. The Transcendent's going to heal him up, but not for long enough. Urki and Lolsish end up falling. And now AT are in the danger zone. They used 2 support ultimates in that fight, Harry. And it's 75% British Hurricane. They've got 5 ults online. There's no way they can lose this.
And soon to put that grab on the corner jaws, meaning that Lolsish had a right angle between himself and Fox with that Transcendence, could have cut off the incoming healing potentially, made sure that he couldn't survive the high damage beam of Suna. And like you said, British Hurricane 5 ultimates, Angry Titans, they need to clutch beyond the dreams of any previous Overwatch League player if they want to win this.
There's the grab. Transcendence is going to come out though. Happy Gall ends up going down. The Shadow's going to be big, or at least big into the shield. A little bit of damage, of course. Self-destruct gets launched in. British Hurricane now forcing overtime. They threw literally 5 ults in that fight,
Shadow.
but Lolsish ends up going down. Shadow now completely cancelled. Numlock's going to fall as well, so they trade main tank for main tank. Another couple of people end up falling down. But British Hurricane now pushing themselves on the points. They don't really have to invest anything here. They can just go again if they want to, but they're forcing AT to use their support ults. Avox using his is such a disaster for them as soon as it's 10% away from another grab.
Spectral trying to brawl this one out. Lolsish has returned to the fray, but so has Numlocked. And that Graviton, it's almost ready to go, Jaws.
4%, he throws it on him.
It's
He gets
eaten!
eaten up. Emil with the right click does manage to find it, but they still end up finding Spectral. The kill goes through to British Hurricane as Numlock earns himself another Shatter. Met gets destroyed in the end of it all as Lolsish ends up going down as well. This is all too good for British Hurricane. Doesn't matter if they got a Graviton Surge eaten, they still got Numlock to back him up.
It doesn't even matter if a point was flipped, Jaws, which it was. A long-range grab will suck everyone in.
Doesn't matter. Urki, Avox, they're all dead. AT gonna get routed off the point, and British Hurricane just going to push them all back. There's no way you're going to be able to touch this on Lotus, unfortunately. Hurricane are going to be able to take this one 2-1. The curse still hanging over the heads of AT. The last time they met, they managed to win control. Not this time around.
And this was where Angry Titans had one of their best statistical chances to take it from the side of British Hurricane. Of course, they did claim one map to their credit as well, but it does mean they will now be able to choose where we go for hybrid. They may have specific plans against British Hurricane, but for now, British Hurricane, they're going to start this off. They're doing the old T-pose on control. They're establishing dominance.
It's pretty scary if you're AT. It's getting in your head as well. That's one of the big things. Got to think that's what that's actually doing to their mental. Control is such a good game type for them, especially when they go up against British Hurricane. They do, however, like you mentioned, get to choose the next map, and I can imagine we're going to somewhere like King's Row, where they did face Giganti and find a little bit of revenge by full holding them.
Yeah, we could also see either Blizzard World or Iconvold. And Blizzard World, you can occasionally see a Widowmaker come out from Spectral. Maybe that will be one of their greater assets. We know Spectral is one of the greatest hit scan DPS of Europe, but of course, someone on the bench for British Hurricane who could also make that work.
Yeah, Sparker, that's another piece to the puzzle that is British Hurricane, actually figuring them out. It's kind of a nightmare for AT. I mean, you could kind of suggest the maps that he's going to be played on, but you never know. They've had a little bit of time to kind of work him more into the roster. We definitely see Sparker more on maps like Junkertown, like you were saying. Potentially comes out for this next one. We'll have to wait and see, of course. We're going to jump to a quick break, though, guys. Do not go anywhere. Map number 2 coming up soon. Hey guys, welcome back. Map number 2 coming up very soon. Hurricane versus AT. If you've only just joined us, Hurricane managing to secure control, and it's kind of a bit weird, not going to lie. AT normally secure control, especially against teams like British Hurricane. It's one of their better map types. Their 90% win rate or something along those lines in the last 6 months, which is a little bit crazy if you ask me. And AT also falling here does give a massive boon in confidence to Hurricane, and a Hurricane that has been changed over the course of a year as well.
Yeah, and Hurricane has had all of those changes, of course, because it has sent people over to Overwatch League. But with losing people to Overwatch League, like Kib to Guangzhou, Fusions, of course, over to Boston Uprising, it does mean that we have to talk about British Hurricane and their potential for scouting as well, Jaws. They have great backroom staff in Albion, in Nox, in Nookie, and they all find these talents that haven't really been utilized so well before, like Suna on the hit scan, like Sparker on the hit scan as well. They brought Numlocked back and they've turned him into an absolute beast. He once again is rising up to that former glory that he had when he played for Team Dignitas way back when, the 3G Express himself, Big Brain Barton. And I've been incredibly impressed consistently at what British Hurricane has been able to do to rebuild these rosters while losing resources.
It's a little bit crazy. I mean, like you said, Fusions as well, by the way, being selected for the All-Stars event, which is also exciting. I'm so glad people were already impressed by his plays on the Reinhardt. Just so aggressive, and that's what really aided to some of the success of Hurricane last year. Astro as well, being on the bench some of the time, then being brought in for control maps and specialized maps like Hollywood as well on the Lucio. It's been such a journey for British Hurricane. Ups and downs from last year, like we mentioned before, and then like you just mentioned there, like Numlocked coming into the roster too. Just this incredibly powerful voice in the team that's really helping a lot of and fostering a lot of these newer players that are coming into the scene. Yeah,
I think Happy and Bocket are the only people on the British Hurricane roster who are actually present for their Season 1 win way back when in Krakow against Giganti. So let's talk about Yofi as well, coming in from Finland. Had little bits of fame here and there in previous Contender seasons, but it seems like Hurricane have picked him up, really turned him into a huge calling beast, able to very accurately track some ults as well as lay down these boops, which in the last map we saw have put Lolsish into multiple perilous positions. And I know that Hafikall's very vocal as well, definitely a leader in this team, and British Hurricane are doing a great job of managing all these large personalities, all of these big voices. And you're going to have practice managing big voices when you've obviously had Fusions on your team. We've all seen his interviews from Overwatch League where he's basically got no voice left after calling for 4 maps with his team. And it's one of the things that is very much an asset to Hurricane.
So don't put Fusions on for the interview, man. He can't speak. Maybe a couple of words.
He's just croaking and wheezing.
Yeah. He's run out of words. It's too late. British Hurricane on the defense. Angry Titans are on the offense. Remember, AT did choose this map, of course. So we do see, more often than not, the team that does choose the size starts off on the defense. If they can, they will end up choosing this just because, again, it gets into the heads of the attackers. If they manage to full hold or kind of hold them just before second, as we do see a lot on Blizzard World, it can really just dampen the mental of the other
Indeed
team.
it can. Right now, Emil is going to be swapping back over onto the Diva. They want to take the straight 3-3 again, and they may have a significant advantage in the main tank versus main tank battle because Bocket is playing on the Ana, potentially so that there was a greater chance he could have resisted any incoming Sombra from Emil, which British Hurricane may well have expected. But now it means that Numlock's going to have a Discord orb on him, whereas Lolsish will not.
Wow, Yofi's already extremely low. Numlock doing the same. That bio grenade landing also perfectly on the back of Numlock. Does a lot of splash damage as well. Helping killing off that, and as soon as that bio grenade lands, if there's no Xayah shield to back you up, Harry, you're pretty much as good as dead. And the situation that Hurricane put AT in there as well was also perilous. You're forcing them around the corner. Like, that's really horrible against an Ana because you land one nade, you're not going to be able to get an LOS or Xayah. Plus, it's such an easy kind of alcove to throw grenades into as well because the splash damage is just going to hit everybody.
And when you speak of hitting those grenades as well, it was Urki and Fat who were affected by the anti-healing properties of a bardic grenade that time around. And both of them, of course, rely on that aura healing of both the Inspire and the various songs of Lucio to try and keep themselves alive, because Aafox is usually going to have his Harmony Orb onto Lolsish, or one of the tanks who require a little bit more point healing from him. In this case, it will be Spectral and Lolsish who are having to utilize that resource. Maybe Angry Titans will go for a rotation around the other side this time. Numlock's ready to meet them out in the field. Bocket's not actually playing on the high ground right here. He's playing down on the low.
Maybe a little bit dangerous right now, but Bock has got that nano, of course, can just plop it onto Numlock if he so chooses. Shadow could be set up here as well. Lolsish a little bit too far behind. I mean, Hurricane, they got to know that Numlocked has an advantage in that case. Graviton Surge gets thrown out. A-Fox can use that Transcendence. The Bio Grenade comes in. 4 people, 3 people in fact, are going to get naded. Doesn't mean they have to back off now, waiting for everybody to get to 100% again.
Yeah, healing up once again for Angry Titans. British Hurricane are bleeding that clock. Half of Angry Titans' time has already elapsed, and already Graviton engaged.
Graviton's coming in. There's the sound barrier to stop all that damage.
Ooh,
Their Shadow's going to be good though. 4 down, but Numlock's still standing strong. He's got the nano on him as well. The damage resistance working so well, but Danin and Bok are already dead. Numlock gets focus fire as well as he ends up falling down as well. Happy-Cool threw in the self-destruct. Bit of a Hail Mary play, didn't end up really getting anything. But AT with a perfect grav combo end up securing the point.
Yeah, Spectral he just decided to go for long-range Graviton because he thought that Happy-Cool's attentions were directed elsewhere and thought it would be safer, that there would be no defense matrix in the way. And in this case, he was exactly right. The calculation came very much in his favor, managed to catch Bucket there. And of course, once you get rid of the Ana, a lot of the healing prowess that British Hurricane need to stay in that fight is gone. Happy-Cool caught out with a little bit of a scout. We'll have to back off, lest he feed over more energy to Spectral.
Oh, both tanks trading places there. Like a game of chess, and Numlocked end up getting kinged. Although, wait, that's checkers. Hang on a second. As soon as they end up going to go down, Numlock's going to follow him as well. AT win the preceding fight after capping the first. However, British Hurricane, and with the spawn point they now appear out of when they do end up respawning, it's just so close to this second point. They can really make a lot of fights happen here. Maybe 2 or 3. They're only just getting around the spider tank, scorpion tank. I am sorry. I have not played StarCraft in a while. Okay,
well, Jaws brushes up on his Blizzard lore. British Hurricane are going to be trying to take the high ground away from Angry Titans. Right now, Urki's going to back off of it. Does not want to take the 1v5 fight in this case. And now, British Hurricane have the advantage of being able to choose for engagement. You can see that Danid right now is contesting the car because he has that line of sight from the high ground, and he's not in very much danger.
He's not in most danger, but Lotus is jumping and swinging at him, chunking him a little bit and gaining a little bit of ult charge for himself. Graviton Surge on the sidelines. Not quick enough to save Danid and Yofi. They got dragged in. That Transcendence not quite there. Graviton Surge comes out for British Hurricane as well, but it's instantly met with a Transcendence coming out from A-Fox. Angry Titans picking off 2 members so early. British Hurricane couldn't really fight that. They wanted to try and go for a big combo, but it didn't work. And now AT going to make sure it was only 2 fights that British Hurricane were going to get at a second point, as they end up capping it, and 3 minutes and 40 seconds now to push through this final stage.
Great play there once again from Spectral to get that early Graviton Surge, doing a lot of damage to Hurricane, and also ensuring that they were forced to use their resources in very strange positions, putting Bucket into a place where he would fall down after using that Transcendence, so that it would be merciless at the hands of Angry Titans. Losish right now, very sneaky, going for it!
Check your corners, man! Sooner and Dad ended up going down, that's it, AT. With 1 sneaky shatter, end up winning the fight. Hurricane has still got ults though. You see Numlocked had his back. It looked like AT had just kind of thrown a rock in the back line and said, hey, look at this way. Instant shatter on 5 people, and AT keeping the payload moving.
Distraction tactics. Angry Titans definitely staying angry, but British Hurricane after that, they're going to be getting angry right now. Jaws, Lolsish being the front line here, wants to try and make sure he can block Numlock's incoming shadow, which is going to be one of the main tools British Hurricane have to stop the bleeding, to stymie this offense.
Graviton Surge is going to get thrown in, self-destruct on top as well. Another one traded. Happy-Cool doesn't quite find anybody either. Both beats have been used, but a big shatter from Numlock, sending everybody to the ground. Defense Matrix was good, though, from Emil, stopping a lot of that damage coming through from Hurricane. And now they're all out of ults. Angry Titans are as well, but A-Fox so close to a Transcendence coming up to the next couple of seconds. The barrier is destroyed from Lolsish as he ends up getting taken down. Numlock trying to get back as well, holding that S-key with such vigor, trying to get away from the rest of the team. The Graviton Surge is going to come in from British Hurricane to keep this fight going, but instantly met with the Transcendence.
Happy-Cool's going to take a lot of damage here against these targets. He's got... Oh, there's another Grav, Jaws.
He's going to get thrown in, but another Transcendence is going to match. You can see AT. No, they don't have the damage to follow that up, so they're going to back off for now. Both main tanks have rejoined the fight.
Now they have. There's going to be a brawl out now. Numlock's already down, Jaws.
Numlock didn't even touch him before he even died. Fat is going to get traded off. Lolsish now swinging away. He can make sure the rest of his team are also safe. The Shadow's going to come up momentarily as well. His Shadow's the self-destruct, so it doesn't get launched into his backline as well. Then it ends up falling, and AT now are going to push onto this 3rd point.
Happy-Cool still keeping this contested, though. British Hurricane have yet to get off the car. It still needs to move, Angry Titans.
They do at least find 1 pick in Spectral, but is it going to be enough? Another Transcendence from A-Fox to keep them all alive. Happy-Cool is going to fall, and now it's the staggered members of British Hurricane touching the points, making sure they burn every second possible. We've even got Sooner on a McCree now.
There is a Transcendence up in the air. Is for self-destruct. Will claim down Eds.
Claims 1 kill. They're still moving the payload. Like a meter remaining. Hurricane is still dueling out on it. 10 seconds before it goes under a minute as well. Would be so important for British Hurricane to meet that checkpoint, but it's not going to be there. 1 minute and 23 in the time bank for AT.
1 minute and 4 seconds, actually.
Sorry, 4 seconds.
1 second. But those 4 seconds, Jules, like you said, they're so important. And we'll talk about why. For those of you who haven't joined us throughout the season, who are just tuning in for Contenders Finals, Hybrid works on a time bank system. That means that if you have more than a minute left when you complete, it means you get a second attack afterwards if the enemy can complete. But having more than a minute does mean that if the enemy finishes in overtime, they will not be given any time to make their own second attack that you have to try and match. It does mean that if the enemy completes in overtime, that map is yours for the taking. You can get that free attack with a minute. If you add under it, then both the teams would be brought up to a minute. But because of those 4 crucial seconds, Angry Titans are now in the driver's seat. British Hurricane, they have to get the completion here, or Angry Titans after 2 maps will be tying us up 1-1.
Plus you only have to get 33% of the point as well on first and your second attack, like you said, if British Hurricane do complete in overtime. Maybe they bring out something a little bit different here on the offense. Or would it make it wouldn't be such a bad option at all? Just to run out the gate with, of course. You can use the in itself actually to grapple upwards. You get a nice little view, almost an overview of the point, overview of the 2 sides where most teams are going to be holding. Maybe you get a sneaky headshot. Then you can run all the way back. Angry Titans, though, coming out with something a little bit different. Unless Emil changes, it's actually going to be an Ashe in amongst the 3-3.
Interesting play here for Angry Titans. And people may ask, why isn't Spectral, one of the greatest European hit scan DPS, playing the Ashe? And the thing is, Emil, back when he used to play for Vivi's Adventure, he was a hit scan DPS. He had a very potent soldier that he used to play. So definitely not to be laughed at for DPS capabilities of Emil. He showed off on Sombra before as well, Jaws. He's definitely a very potent DPS player, not just a flex tank. British Hurricane, though, on the other side, they want to go for a 3-3 that's being led by a Winston and backed up with an Ana. That's a lot of healing available for the diving tanks from a range.
Yeah, not only that, because Emil isn't playing the D.Va does mean, hey, you can't eat our bio grenades. A little bit more effectiveness. Numlock actually changing his mind once again, switching over from the Winston back to the Reinhardt, which was a second ago. Bog actually changing over as well, so half the swap up, and they are going to go back to old-fashioned 3-3. But they are burning a little bit of time here. 45 seconds already gone.
Yeah, wants to ensure that there is protection available for Bucket that isn't going to get picked off from long range by Emil. Everyone's going to have to crouch in behind that shield. A good dynamite right there. Detonates on multiple people. Ooh. Those health bars.
That was almost 20%. In fact, it was 20% ult charge from that one dynamite. Bok ends up going down as well. Those weak, fragile healers. 200 HP, Harry. That dynamite does a whole bunch of damage. You're really relying on the Lucio to heal you up, as Danid isn't going to be able to get in melee range, and that armor pack, pretty useful. You don't really want to expend it just for some dynamite. Just delay them so much time. And Emil, he's 10% away from towards Bob.
Yeah, like you said, Danid not being able to proc Inspire because it wasn't close enough does mean they had to rely on Yofi there for the healing. And Bucket can't really juggle that Harmony Orb as much as he'd like to. Here we go. Ooh. Doesn't look like it was eaten there by Happy Cool.
Doesn't really matter though. 5% away from that bomb. It's going to get launched out in the back line. Very, very scary if you don't give it space. Los is going to go down though. Yofi does claim the first kill. Emil's eventually going to get checked, but Numlock's going to fall as well. Bob doing so much damage and giving out so much pressure. Emil was able to just survive there. Happy Cool goes fairly low and had to back off. Bok ends up going down. Emil with a double kill. Sooner ends up falling as well. Pretty early Transcenders from A-Folks to make sure they can solidify themselves on this point still. British Hurricane now have 2 minutes to attack. Half the time bank gone. And
that Bob there from Emil also was around the back, which meant that British Hurricane, once they committed to their fight, they had no chance to have a disengagement, because if they did, it would have been straight into the rotary cannons of Bob, and that would do so much damage, especially like you said, to those vulnerable healers. It does about 120 damage per second. Not something you can really stand up to if you have 200 HP at your disposal. And once again, Angry Titans, they're taking the high ground here, going for an early dynamite, hoping that Happy Cool would be a little bit less on top of eating that one, as Emil wants to build up once again to the Bob.
Nice headshot. Spectral now keeping an eye out for the defense matrix. It's got a 2-second cooldown now. Graviton Surge is going to come out from British Hurricane this time around though. Beat's going to come through as Happy Cool does manage to eat Spectral's grab. Perfect start for British Hurricane, but they still lose Numlocked. Beat's going to come through and keeping British Hurricane alive for the time being, but Happy Cool sending in the self-destruct, ends up getting 2 kills. Now it is looking for Hurricane. Happy Cool finding 3. He was the hero that they needed to break this first point.
And like we talked about before, the lacking of the D.Va, because you've got Emil on that Ashe, does bring out some super win conditions for British Hurricane, such as those long-range Kobe grabs, where you know that you don't have to worry about how long the cast time is or how long the flight time is, because they're not going to be able to eat it with the defense matrix. And then Hafikul, he knew that the main sort of counter-attack from Angry Titans would be using Spectral's grab to ensure there was no follow-up, so he just soaks the Graviton Surge in the defense matrix, and Spectral feeds it right on in. Angry Titans going for an early engagement here, don't want to let the cart move at all.
Early engagement, but they're numbering right into Numlock, who's got the Shadow. He's getting bobbed around. The Shadow's still going to land, though. 2 people are going to get sent to the floor, but Numlock and Losish get sent to the spawn. A Transcendence from Avox to keep them all alive. Soon is still building up towards this grab, though, and almost can freely wing it in now. Throws it onto Emil's back as he turned away from him. That is going to go down, yes, but at what cost? British Hurricane are still going to be able to clear out AT. They are now on the retreat. They need to make sure they can get back with Losish in time. Otherwise, British Hurricane are going to gain so much free distance here.
Nice communication there as well between Numlocked and Yofi, booping Losish out of the way to facilitate an Earth Shatter onto 2 members. The cart continues moving, and it will be Suna and Numlocked acting as that front line while Angry Titans decide where they want to take this defense. A couple of people may rotate up onto the high ground here. They need to get in front of the cart because it's almost reached the second checkpoint. There is a rally coming through.
Self-destruct's going to split everybody, and Losish ends up going down. Graviton Surge launched in, but a Transcendence is going to keep everybody alive. And now they just want to buy for some additional time on the point. They know Losish, because he was caught out all alone, separated from the rest of his team with the self-destruct. They know they can't win this fight now, so they end up just feeding themselves onto the payload as British Hurricane clear them off and cap in around the same time.
Spectral doing what he can to build up towards yet another Graviton Surge, but the last one was a little bit toothless, of course, because of Losish being missing. Because not only does that mean you don't have the swinging potential into that huge meaty ball of enemy targets, it also means you can't use the pin to remove someone and deliver that burst damage that is often required to take out a squishy target in a Graviton Surge while Transcendence is being used. British Hurricane have that cyclical ult generation, of course. Numlocked ready to come in with the Earth Shadow. Losish has to be on his guard here.
Grab comes in, Numlock swinging in, Transcendence also coming through. That charge from Numlock gets booped away, so he can't find anybody. A beat is going to come out from Hurricane. Numlock with the Shadow as well. Graviton Surge is going to get launched in and actually find Zander in the back line. But AT, look at all that overshield they've already gained from that late beat coming out from Fats. They knew all they had to do was just back off as soon as Hurricane used their own beat. They could re-engage with theirs and have the HP advantage.
They've got a man for Rampart's Jaws. They've got to batten down the hatches, get ready for their own Battle of Winterfell here in the castle. 2 minutes and 15 seconds stands between themselves and defending Blizzard World and bringing themselves up to 1-1 here in our finals. Losish, he's going in and out of the door. Doesn't want to take too much damage on his shield while Spectral tags in.
Spectral's going to come in. No bomb to actually mix with it, so they're relying on vanilla damage. Late Transcendence from British Hurricane, but it's a good one. Self-destruct launch to the back line. Does a bit of damage to Losish's shield, but he lays everybody out on the floor.
Oh my lord!
Numlock's dead. They're all gone. A simple right click from Spectral, just disintegrating everybody. And British Hurricane, they're going to have to attack again. 1 minute and 40 seconds now remains.
He saw Numlock charge on past and he was like, oh, bye then. Who's going to shield the remainder of your team? Answer is nobody. Here we go, a little bit of a replay coming through. Big old Shadow coming. Wonderful play from Losish and, of course, Spectral as well. Will be British Hurricane once again tapping in on the cart. No resource to their name just yet. Sooner can hit a few more to have the Graviton ready.
Oh, but Dan is so low already. AT actually made a beeline for him, just running past the shield of Numlocked. Not quite so fast, though, as Numlock still ends up getting a kill, but Fat finds the boop as they were on that small ledge. Still AT holding so strong. And now a minute is left for British Hurricane to actually push it towards third.
Hafikul there tried to escape, also faked out, maybe staggered himself a little bit too long. Just crucial seconds are going to drain away as British Hurricane now under a minute. And this calls back to what we talked about before, Jaws, those crucial 4 seconds for Angry Titans. If British Hurricane can't do this until overtime, this is Angry Titans' map to win. But when I look at the ultimates available right now, it already is. Angry Titans have almost 4 ready to go, 5 if you count Emil as well, and Bucket's already down.
They might not even use anything here because they know British Hurricane can't assault the front line of AT. They're just going to fire a couple extra mortars in. Spectral still building up towards about 100% of charge.
Saw his silhouette there. He's currently behind them. May try and get a strange boop onto Losish, move him into the midst of Angry Titans before rejoining his team.
They early grab, though. This could be a big problem for British Hurricane. They got the support ults to really rely on. But it's whether they layer them or not. Numlock moving forward. Losish goes low. Has to hold the shield, but Self-Destruct's going to come in. The Shadow's going to land. And no one for British Hurricane going down. They finally find the kills they are after. Numlock swinging on in, but OT is now going to be in session. British Hurricane need to finish this map in order to at least claim just a draw. 18 need to win one fight though, and it's all over.
A nice rotation. We don't even need to win a fight, Jaws. They just need to get British Hurricane off the cart, because overtime only is continually refreshed because of their presence on the objective. Numlock just did a huge amount of damage there with a Fire Strike. Man needs to be healed up, and he's ready to go for an Earth Shatter as well if he can make his way past the shield of Losish.
Beat's going to come out for AT. Shatter in the back line finds two. The Transcendence keeping them alive for the time being. Numlock's in the front line. He's already dead. Losish finds one. As British Hurricane are now routed, they don't know what to do. They don't know where to look. Soon is down. Yofi's going to fall too. AT are going to make their stand here on Blizzard World and tie the series up, one apiece.
Some beautiful play there as well. We saw Yofi and Numlock once again try to combine their abilities with the use of the boop into the Earth Shatter, but the reaction was too great. It was Fat, the newcomer to the family, the fresh face alongside Emil on Angry Titans, who wasn't there for those previous losses in the grand finals, coming in with a clutch sound barrier, making sure that Angry Titans had everything they needed to stay in that fight.
They want to make sure history doesn't repeat itself. British Hurricane, last time they faced, they managed to only let go of control to AT and then proceeded to win the next 3 maps. It's not going that way this time around. And now British Hurricane, it's up to them to choose the next map.
Yeah, we will be going to Assault. They'll have a couple of choices. Hanamura may well be their primary one, because that was what Giganti took off of Angry Titans using a bunker composition the last time those two met. Visibility on the Bastion was a little bit difficult for Angry Titans to try and maneuver around. Essentially, we'll see a similar tactic.
Best thing about British Hurricane choosing this next map, Harry, they've actually got a 90% win rate over the last 6 months on Assault. Like, that is a terrifying number if you look at that for AT. And they get the choice of map as well. So it's like, hey, it's almost a double win for us. We're so good on Assault. Plus, we get to choose the map choice of our own. Like, this is insane. We could also, like you mentioned, maybe Hanamura see a little bit more bunker composition as well, which is kind of risen in popularity in Overwatch League.
Horizon as well does have the potential to use an Ashe or a Widowmaker, and if you want to bring in an Ashe, then of course Sparker remains on the bench. There's a little bit more roster depth for British Hurricane compared to Angry Titans, but they've got to be aware that when they bring in one of those substitutions, it's very telegraphed as to what they're going to play, whereas Suna's a lot more variable in terms of his hero pool. He does have a really good Zaya, which of course we've seen multiple times, allows British Hurricane to go for that 3-3, whereas he can also flex over onto the hit scan, whereas if you bring in Sparker, it's kind of like when Morning Stars used to put KSP. You knew exactly what they were going to play because of who you saw in the lobby.
Yeah, but this is where this preparation time can really come into play, because we haven't been, I was going to say we haven't been doing Contenders. We haven't been casting Contenders, and they haven't been playing in these officials for about a week and a bit now. So we are in a situation where they could just have some secret sauce in their back pocket, hopefully not leaking out too much, and bring out Sparkle on a map that they that AT don't necessarily think they're going to do.
Yeah, don't want to spill the juice everywhere, but Angry Titans are also going to have to think how they want to try and... I imagine after the last week where they did have that trouble on Hanamura, that has been one of the sore spots that the coaching has tried to account for. Of course, Optidox and Faustus both being head coaches for Angry Titans. They've looked at that map and they're like, okay, here's where we went wrong.
Well, we have to find out what map we are going to in a second. We're going to jump to a quick break. Do not go anywhere.